This is such an incredibly sad story. The mother and her boyfriend accused of murdering and torturing the mother's 7-year-old child. We'll have more coming up.
A missing persons case now turned into a homicide investigation after police found a body inside a culvert outside of these houses in East Point. We've got the very latest on this story coming up.
This flag or this flag?
I know.
Or this flag you're concerned about? Because all people are dying. My bloodline is gone.
Emotions high as University of Michigan students stage a walkout in support of Palestinians under attack in Gaza.
Working for you. Fox 2 News at 5 starts now.
We start with this, a heartbreaking case of child abuse. Tonight, a 7-year-old boy is dead. His own mother and her boyfriend charged in his murder.
Now, we want to warn you, as you can well imagine, the facts of this case are deeply disturbing. Fox 2's Charlie Langton has been on this story all day long. He joins us live with what happened. Charlie.
Well, this is a very sad situation. Rube, I'm glad you mentioned that some of the facts, we can't even show them or talk about them on television because they're so bad. But the charges are first-degree child abuse, felony murder, and torture, if convicted, life felonies. But the defendants here, a 23-year-old mother and a 21-year-old boyfriend, and the alleged torture happened on this family's East Side Detroit home. Take a look.
I mean, I don't really know how to react. It's my oldest son.
The prosecutor says 7-year-old Deshaun Williams was severely tortured and killed, allegedly by his mother and her mother's boyfriend.
The injuries that caused his death were within a day. However, his body shows marks and scars from prolonged abuse.
According to the prosecutor, the cause of 7-year-old Deshaun's death was blunt force trauma to the head and pelvis. But there's more.
He had a right subdural hematoma, and his pelvis was separated into two, broken in half.
And there's also evidence that Deshaun had been abused for a while in the basement of their East Side Detroit home on Hurlbut.
His body is covered in scratches, scrapes, cuts, burns all over his face, his back, his front side, his legs, and his feet.
And the prosecutor said Deshaun was abused even after he died, so severely that we can't even say it on television. You know the mother. Is this something that the mother would do?
Not in my eyes. I mean, she was never that type of person in my eyes. I didn't really get to spend much time with Alicia and talk to her.
I just can't see nobody doing this to a kid.
Deshaun's grandmother remembers the 7-year-old.
He was a happy kid. He didn't let on. I don't know if he didn't, want us to know, or maybe somebody threatened him and tell him not to say nothing, but he didn't let on to us that he was in any type of pain, being abused, or anything.
He was always stand-up guy for just like me. It was my mini-me.
They look alike, too. No bond for the two because it's a felony murder. If convicted, it's up to life in prison. There's a preliminary exam on November 15th. There is a GoFundMe account set up for the family, and we'll have that information on our website, fox2detroit.com. But that was the father, the boy's father, and the boy's grandmother. I think it took them by surprise. The horrific nature of this. We don't see a lot of torture cases, and the prosecutor went into great detail, more than even put on television, but it's a very, very sad situation here.
It breaks your heart, but I mean, where was CPS? Have they been involved with this family in the past? Have they been checking on them regularly?
So I talked to the family, I'll talk to the neighbors. The answer is no. The father here saw the kid not too long ago, and as you heard the grandmother say, maybe the kid was protecting someone. We just don't know, and unfortunately, we will never know. But the key witness in a trial is going to be that medical examiner that actually did the autopsy on the child to pinpoint how long those injuries, those severe injuries, had been on that child, because one of the counts will be torture. You have to go back and unfortunately relive this horrific scene that happened in this couple's East Side home.
That's the part that you wonder about in terms of that grandmother saying, hey, we didn't even have any evidence or signs. How long has this been happening? And that, like you say, that they'll get to the bottom of that. But just, there are no words to describe this story. It is absolutely horrific, and just, if it's true, just absolutely, it's at these hands, just evil.
They'll get their day in court, but it's horrific allegations. There's no question about that.
Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.
A missing persons case turns into a murder investigation tonight at East Point. Police discover a body believed to be a woman who was reported missing more than a month ago. Fox 2's Scott Wolchak joins us live now to bring us up to date on this case. And have they confirmed her identity yet, Scott?
Taryn, they have not fully confirmed her identity, but they do believe that this is 47-year-old Samantha Ginther. And one of the things that they really feel strongly about with this is the fact that this is Samantha Ginther's home right here behind us. They came out here this morning. They've been out since 7 a.m. They executed a search warrant on Ginther's home, and that's when they kind of figured out that behind one of these houses is a culvert, and that is actually where they found a body that they believe is her. So very tragic out here. I talked with the police chief, who has the latest update.
We have discovered what is believed to be a human body inside the storm drain in the rear yard, just down a piece here.
Police believe it's 47-year-old Samantha Ginther. She lived in this house and has been missing since June. However, she wasn't even reported missing until September 18th.
This is obviously not what we wanted to have happen. We did not want to find it this way. But again, our detectives have been working tirelessly since this was reported.
The missing persons case now a homicide investigation with 2 people in custody. Police have been searching Ginther's residence here on Semrau Avenue in East Point since this morning. It was during that investigation that led them to believe Ginther may be located in the culvert a few houses down.
It's in a storm drain, one of the big iron grates that was lifted up, and she's located in there. We're not positive again on ID. We haven't been able to ID her positively or anything yet. As you know, we have our fire department in Macomb County here to assist us in doing further investigation.
Police say she lived here with a few other people for a short period of time.
The investigators are going to be here for quite a bit of time. They're going to be going through the house. They're going to be investigating where the storm drain is. And then at a point real soon, we'll be presenting all this information to the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, and we'll see where we get from there.
And you can see this is still quite an active scene. In fact, all of Semrau Avenue here is totally roped off. They do have those 2 persons of interest in custody, and the chief tells me that they don't believe anybody else has any kind of suspicion in this case. Of course, they do always keep that possibility open. Now, we'll keep you updated on the very latest as this investigation comes to a head. Reporting live in East Point, I'm Scott Wolchak, Fox 2 News.
Well, Scott, I know it's early on in the investigation and police can't really say much, but maybe neighbors or anybody, did they say who else lived there with her? More on those 2 individuals taken into custody and their relation to her?
You know, that's a fantastic question, Taryn. As you said, it is early on, but I did talk to neighbors. You know, we've been out here all afternoon talking with people, and they say that the people who lived in this house were very quiet. We do know that Ginther lived with possibly some family members. There were some children that people saw come out of the house this morning when police originally came out here. What the relationship to Ginther is, we still have yet to hear from police.
Well, we know investigators are on it, but thanks for the update.
Well, a sign of progress tonight, the UAW appears to be getting close to a deal with Ford that would end that strike against the automaker. The Associated Press is reporting the deal would include cost of pay increases that could lift the total raises above 30%. Workers would also receive annual profit-sharing checks. The AP says talks could still fall apart, but if the union and Ford can reach a deal, it would be used as a model in talks with GM and Stellantis.
Republicans elect a new Speaker of the House after weeks of turbulence and several failed candidates. Louisiana Representative Mike Johnson earned unanimous support from his party today to win the gavel. Johnson is a staunch conservative and a lawyer specializing in constitutional issues. He is also a close ally of former President Trump and cast doubt on the results of the 2020 election.
I want to say to the American people, on behalf of all of us here, we hear you. We know the challenges you're facing. We know that there's a lot going on in our country, domestically and abroad, and we are ready to get to work again to solve those problems, and we will.
Therefore,
Johnson takes over as the federal government is just weeks away from a possible government shutdown. Congress must pass a funding bill by November 17th, that deadline.
All new at 5 tonight, Bloomfield Hills high school students staging a walkout in support of the Palestinian people in Gaza. The student-led group taking part in this nationwide demonstration. They say they're trying to raise awareness about the deaths taking place in war-torn Gaza. In Ann Arbor, University of Michigan students and staff also walked out today.
This as Israel ramps up airstrikes against Hamas. Fox 2's Amy Lang with more on the students' message.
This flag or this flag?
I know.
Or this flag you're concerned about? Because our people are dying. My bloodline is gone.
Emotions high as University of Michigan students stage a walkout in support of Palestinians under attack in Gaza, joining other students across the nation condemning universities and politicians for supporting Israel.
The events of these last 2 weeks are not isolated from Israel's 75-year-long denial of Palestinian human rights and forbiddance of Palestinian resistance.
Thousands of students gathering on the Diag denouncing the violence. In Israel, close to 1,400 people were killed in a surprise attack by Hamas on October 7th. Since then, 6,500 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza.
This is not a war. This is a massacre.
Students of all faiths, including some Jewish students, standing in solidarity with the Palestinians.
All of us, Palestinians, Jews, non-Jews, workers, students, community members, we should find all the ways we can to disrupt the ongoing genocide and to stand with the Palestinian people.
Graduate workers, like so many workers across the world, stand against genocide, against apartheid, and against state violence.
As being a black student, African student who has always been in the minority in such a big campus, I think it's very important that everyone's voices needs to be heard.
A small group of Jewish counter-protesters in attendance, but when we interviewed junior Josh Brown, the outrage and despair became evident.
Standing up and saying that Israel's committing a genocide, when they're simply defending their citizens against...
6,500 Palestinians were killed.
Yes. So
3,000 kids were killed. How many Israelis were killed?
I am concerned about the Palestinians who are dying in Gaza. I am concerned. But when you ask the question of who is responsible for those deaths, it is Hamas who uses human shields.
Public safety officers arrived to calm things down. The larger demonstration, hundreds of students in support of Palestinians took their message from the Diag to the streets.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
In Ann Arbor, Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.
And groups gathered in downtown Detroit today to demand a ceasefire in Gaza.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Voice for Peace, Detroit.
Metro Detroit Jewish groups outside the McNamara Federal Building demanding elected officials step up. Protesters shouting for officials like Senator Gary Peters and Senator Debbie Stabenow to sign legislation calling on an immediate ceasefire.